We here? We good? I can edit this shit.
Yeah, man.
We here? 2005 Saab 95. Okay, so I'm here with this 2005 Saab, and my brother's hanging out, chilling. Anyway, so I see oil leaking. I'm going to do the oil pan gasket on there, and I just concluded that the source of the drip is coming from the oil pan. So I checked the valve cover gasket, which I did last year with this car, and it wasn't leaking, which is good. So here we are. I put the car up on jack stands. I checked out the oil leak down below, and it is definitely really wet.
That's what
and so I pulled out the mass airflow sensor to see if their oil is coming from the top, because sometimes the head gaskets on these engines start to leak. And the good news is this one is not leaking from the head gasket. It is extremely dry down there, if you can see that. Alright, so we're here, and check it out. See all that oil? This shit is dripping everywhere. So the engine is draining. What I'm gonna need to do here is drain the oil. I need to release the downpipe and exhaust from the top and from the bottom. Over here, you'll see there's two bolts on the transmission plate here. We here, 2005 Saab 95. Why don't you come over here and show the most annoying part, or one of the most annoying parts of this project. It's called getting the bolts undone on the exhaust manifold. There is no leverage, so you have to move 3 clicks at a time. It sucks. But anyways, we're getting there. On the first one. Stay tuned. Alright, so here's the update. I think I did this right. No, I'm just kidding. So I removed the O2 sensor and successfully got off the 3 bolts that are holding the exhaust downpipe to the turbo, which is right here, and there's the exhaust manifold. And now I'm going to release the safety bolt and lower the downpipe. Alright, so here's an update. Just took off the wheel. I'm going to take off that panel that's there. Underneath, I got the exhaust manifold, I got the exhaust out of the way. That plate with the 2 11 millimeter bolts that were hooked up to the trans. So I could have sworn to myself that when I sold my 9.5 and I rebuilt a 9.3 convertible, that I would never in my life ever have to do another oil pan on a Saab. Well, I was wrong. But since I've done it so many times in my life, this being probably the 5th time in my life doing it, I can say I'm at the home run stretch. So I'm at the point where the pan is detached from the motor, and all I gotta do now is just jack up the transmission a little bit to clear the lip, because on the one side, on the passenger side, if nobody's familiar with, the subframe gets in the way, so you don't have enough leverage or room to maneuver the pan around it. So you have to detach the torque mount, which in this case I'm replacing anyways. Alright, here's the pan. This is the first time this pan has ever been pulled, and I must say I'm going to pull the sump pump, which is down here, to make sure there's no sludge, but my guess is that there's very little. This car was very well maintained, so stay tuned. All I gotta say is, wow. Wow. That's 126,000 miles. Whoever had this car, the people who own this car have maintained this car extremely well since day one. That is really awesome to see. That is a healthy engine. All clean. Next step is I'm going to clean the bottom of the engine, and then I'm going to lay the silicone and reinstall. Alright, so I got some good updates. Got the pan back in. It was simple, actually. Like, went right in, no problem. So it's in there. I set all the screws in and hand tightened every one of them. You go from one side to the next, from one side to the next, so it from the inside middle to the outside, so it brings everything up. But what's really cool is Next thing is 16 foot-pounds of torque on each bolt, and it's good to go. Alright, we are at the final stage here before putting oil in and starting it up. Just got to remount downpipe to the turbo. And of course reconnect all the O2 sensors, but that's easy. Alright, little update. Everything is back together. I got the exhaust back, got the covers back. I reconnected the harnesses for the O2 sensors. I just tightened up the bolt on the oil pan, torqued down everything on the mounts. And the next thing I'm going to do right now is put some oil in it and start her up for the first time.
Different, right? Just
resetting it, making sure it was torqued properly.
Yeah.
Give it a good rev. No engine lights, no oil lights. That's the way it should sound. That's the way it's supposed to sound. Cool.